Hey there, welcome back to An Introvert's Paradise. I'm Kendrick Kaiju, and today we're having a look at where inZoi came from, where it's at, and where we're going. Past, present, and future, if you will. And it was actually around this time last year where we got that bad news that inZoi was getting pushed back. Because I remember there was a lot of us who were like, hey man, they said they're gonna drop this at the end of the year. We're cutting it real close. I think the writing was on the wall, but I was certainly one who held out hope, who was hoping they would just shadow drop it the last week of December. But of course that didn't happen. Instead, it was announced that the game would be dropped on March 28th, 2025. Oh boy, that was a gut punch. Followed by a grueling, unpleasant, agonizing 3 months of waiting. So you can imagine how happy I was when it finally dropped. Because on day one, we got this beautiful next-gen life sim. One that featured a big open world for us to go walk around in and explore. Well, I suppose not just walk around in. We could also drive around in because cars made a return to the life sim genre. Because not since The Sims 3, which was over a decade ago at this point, have we had drivable cars in a life simulation. And unlike The Sims 3, we could control the cars, meaning we could manually drive them. Now don't get me wrong, right off the bat, it wasn't fun to drive around in. WASD on the keyboard is not a great way to drive, but it was a step in the right direction, and I appreciated it for that. I also really appreciated that this was the first life sim I've ever played in my life that didn't try to sell me weather. And even though there weren't a ton of jobs, I really liked the ones that were available. And, more importantly, I really liked that they were the go-to-work kind, where you actually have to show up and do the job. Now, is there room for improvement? Absolutely. They need to make those jobs better. More fun, less repetitive, more interesting, I suppose. But the fact that they were there day one, standard, not some sort of expansion pack, further reinforced that this is the next-gen life sim. This is what The Sims 5 could have and should have been. This is what EA should have made instead of doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on The Sims 4. And I think Project Renee is some sort of mobile game. I have to imagine the greater majority of this community, the life sim community, has no interest in a mobile version of The Sims, certainly not over Sims 5, a proper Sims 5. Now, it's not lost on me that day one early access inZoi was definitely missing a whole bunch of things. But there was a lot to like, and just enough to capture my imagination and keep me engaged for the first couple months. The K-pop trainee career was a great idea. It's certainly something different, something new, something that we've never seen before. And it made perfect sense to put it in there. First of all, this game is made by a South Korean dev team, and Daewon is based upon a South Korean city, so it was a perfect setting. In fact, if they didn't have it, I would be up in arms. And even though I think it needs a rework, they need to find a way to make it more fun. They bare minimum need to make it so it's not the same thing every single day. Because when it is, it's just tedious. At first, when it was new, it was novel. It was fine. The first few days you play it, it's actually fun. But then after a couple weeks, it just didn't have that staying power. It was the same thing over and over again, and for a significant part of the day. And something happened really early in early access where I knew we were in good hands. I back this game as hard as I do because I back the dev team, K-Jun and his team, because I remember we were all up in arms about how quickly our Zoi aged and how quickly they died. And once the dev team caught wind of this, it was, I think within 48 hours they made the change. that we could disable aging. It was that moment where I was like, oh, these guys aren't kidding around. These guys are actually listening to our feedback and doing something about it, and doing it really quickly. And so when they pushed the May update to becoming the June update, you knew it was legit. You knew they had to do it. If it was humanly possible for them to not delay it, it wouldn't have been delayed. So in June, we got a nice quality of life update, one that featured the debut of the mod kit. It was a good update. A lot of tweaks, fixing stuff, minor additions. It wasn't until later on in the summer, I keep forgetting what it's called, but in August, we got the Island Getaway expansion pack, perhaps better known as the Chahaya update. That's the big update. That's the game changer. Of course, the main selling feature was the new city, which was actually 2 parts. You have the main island where you live and work, but then you have the resort island where you went to relax and get pampered and spend all your hard-earned meows. I also felt like the game looked better and just played better. It just felt better. There were definitely a lot of little tweaks, a lot of little adjustments, but this was the update with the major changes, the major features, the major additions. As we already mentioned, first and foremost, the new city, but to me, even more important is they added farming, fishing, and mining. It is not hyperbole to call those things game-changing because I literally don't play the game the same anymore. I have not touched the careers since. I literally just farm, fish, not so much mining. It was actually the mining combined with the selling stuff at the market that made me not do a review of the Chahaya update because I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. I think with the mining, in order to get all the gems, you have to be focused. Like your Zoi needs to be in focused mode, and then you also need to go to the different cities to collect the gems. I never bothered. I think that's tedious. It's not a good system. It should have just been, you start off with a beginner pickaxe, you get beginner gems. As you level up, you can craft a better pickaxe and get better gems. That would have been much more straightforward and appreciated, and everything should have been done in one city, like whatever city you're in. And the selling? I still don't know to this day how to sell stuff and make a profit. Everything I've ever sold in this game, I've had to sell at a loss. It was supposed to be a rags to riches mechanic. No, for me, I was from rags to squalor. I was selling things at a loss. I wasn't making any money whatsoever. But between farming and fishing and selling art, selling beats, selling books, I get by, and it's a far more pleasant way to make a living in-game than spending 8 hours doing the same tasks over and over again on a strict schedule. With the farming and fishing, with the art stuff, I just do that whenever I want to. It's been such a more pleasant, more fun way to play this game, hence why I've always referred to it as game-changing. And when you mix in controller support, I don't really use it to walk around with my Zois, but I always use it to drive, and it makes driving so much better, so much more fun, to the point where sometimes I just go for a drive. It's not GTA levels of driving, but it's good enough. Sometimes there's too much traffic. The red lights used to be really long. But regardless, I still enjoy it. Sometimes it's just nice to go for a drive. It also gave us a bunch of places to go to in the city. Places like the internet cafe, nightclubs, and the arcade. But I'll be completely honest, these places were definitely better on paper. Because in reality, in practice, the internet cafe was okay, but the nightclubs were always empty, and the arcade games weren't fun. You play them a couple of times and you're just like, yeah, I think I'm good. I think I don't need to do this again. And then came the Halloween update, which again came with a lot of quality of life improvements, a lot of tweaks and adjustments. But it also did feature a lot of supernatural type of items, which is always appreciated by me. It also added trick-or-treating in, which I didn't think it worked too well. I didn't try it that many times, but every time I did, it was just one child came to the door and then like hung out. That's just trick-or-treating 101. That's one of the first things they teach you in school. Do not interact with strangers with candy. Even on Halloween night, just take your candy, say thank you, and get the hell out of there. Do not stick around, let alone enter the person's house to have a conversation and hang out on their couch. What are you trying to do? Yeah, they have a weird trick-or-treating system in this game where it's one kid instead of many, and that kid's trying to like befriend you instead of just taking their candy and getting the hell out. And the Halloween update also featured the debut of ghosts in inZoi. I felt like it was kind of the main selling point actually. And I gotta say, I was very disappointed. I don't like the choices they made on how ghosts work. First of all, you're only a ghost for like 3 days. And at least for half that time, if not most that time, you'll be running around doing these boring, tedious fetch quests. Yes, the reward is to learn your ghostly powers, to unlock the ghostly powers, but did I mention you're only around as a ghost for 3 days? So what, you have these ghostly powers for a day or two? It's not worth it. I know Keijun has mentioned in the future there's gonna be the option to being resurrected, coming back to life, but I would also hope that there's gonna be the option to stay on as a ghost. I mean, if you went through all that trouble to get those ghostly powers, you should be able to keep them. But with all that being said, I don't want to make it seem like the Halloween update was a monumental failure, not even close. Sure, a couple of the more standout features fell flat on its face, but there was plenty of stuff to like about it. Where this update really shined was in the little things. The many small tweaks and improvements to the game. I felt like this update made some great strides forward in making the Zoi feel more real. There were some improvements in the emotions of the Zoi, what they could express and feel, but what really did it for me was the many new interactions between Zoi. Because before, I just felt like there was a lot of formality between Zoi, which, to a perfect stranger, that makes perfect sense. I like a lot of the formal respect type of interaction options in this game. I love that stuff. But it was definitely missing the stuff between friends, between family, between lovers. And this update took a big step forward in addressing that by adding a bunch of different animations and interactions with those types of people. Which brings us to the present. The Winter December update. And this one is a big update. It's not Chahaya big, but it too is a game changer because it introduced businesses to us. Honestly, hats off to the dev team. These guys work really hard. They've gotten a lot done over the past 8 months. I've always loved the Open for Business expansion pack from Sims 2, and even the Dining Out game pack from Sims 4. So I've wanted businesses in inZoi for a very long time, but realistically thinking, it was probably a year away, 2 years away, never imagining we'd close out year 1 with the inZoi version of Open for Business. And even though I haven't had a ton of time with it, it's definitely an addictive game loop. Now, I don't want to get into it too much, because I'm going to have a separate video that talks about the businesses, at least a couple of the businesses, maybe not all the businesses. But what I will say is, even though it's not perfect, well, first of all, this is version 1. Keijun has already said this is not the final product. They will keep working on this. So whatever qualms I have about it probably won't be an issue. Well, I would say at the latest this time next year. But I was definitely pleasantly surprised to find out restaurants is one of the businesses that was not announced when this mode was announced. There's some discrepancies between what they said was going to be in it and what is actually in it. Some for the worse, but this is definitely for the best. Though this version of restaurants is not perfect, it does get one thing absolutely right. The one thing that was missing in the Sims 4 Dining Out pack was the ability to be the head chef. I appreciated that you could be a waitstaff, you could be a host, or you could just own the damn place and never interact with it. But the one thing I wanted to be in that game was the head chef. But you couldn't do that. In this one, you definitely can be, and it is so satisfying. I feel super involved. I'm definitely engaged with what's happening in the business every single moment that it's open because I can be the head chef. And it just confirms there was a complete oversight that they didn't have it in the Dining Out game pack. Because if you could own a restaurant, you should be able to do every role there because it's a video game. Like, I would never want to be a head chef in reality. That seems like a stressful, unpleasant job. But this is a video game. This is a major gameplay feature. Why own a restaurant if you're not going to be hands-on and run the most important position in the whole damn place? The family tree has finally made it into this game via the December update. It was definitely something I took for granted in the Sims days. You still can't just make siblings. You still need the parents involved, but at least now when you move out, they're still related to you. Though it's not perfect yet, but it's a big step in the right direction. Throw on top of that a lot of cool new winter clothes, a few different boot options, and some new Christmas-themed interactions, and I'm sure a whole bunch of little quality of life improvements that I really haven't looked into because I've been so caught up with the business. This has been a really, really solid update so far. In fact, they've all been very, very solid updates. Every single update has moved this game forward, taken at least a step at a time into becoming a complete game and a great life sim at that. Every single update has come with a bunch of quality of life improvements, little tweaks, little improvements, little adjustments. And even though I enjoyed the game day one, it's in a much, much better place now than even then. And back then, I won't lie, outside of trying to make myself look like myself in game, like to lunatic degrees, there wasn't enough stuff there to consistently have me play hours on end, like spend entire days and weeks playing outside of the first week or so. But the following couple of months, it was maybe an hour a night, 2 hours a night, something like that. But we're at the point now where so much has been added over the past 8 months. It's pretty easy to lose a day or two, or an entire week to inZoi, and it's no problem. inZoi is in a good place now. Are we a complete game yet? No. There's plenty of work to be done, but plenty of work has already been done. And what's really promising is Kjun put up another roadmap pretty recently, and it looks like we're gonna be in early access for 1 more year. He doesn't explicitly say that, but if you look at the roadmap, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, it's all about strengthening what we have, improving what we have, and fleshing out what we have. In fact, he's referring to it as fundamentals first. And I think this makes a lot of sense, because we have a lot of systems in place now, we have a lot of different features, but as we've gone over the past 20 minutes or so, not all of them are good. I feel like a lot of things need improvements, if not complete reworks. And when it comes down to it, having a lot of features is not good enough. Having a lot of features that are good, that are fun, that are engaging is what's going to be good enough. There's a lot of features in this game, and a lot of it is good. As I said, it's pretty easy to lose an entire week to inZoi at this point. But if they could get jobs in a better place, get the places that we can already go to in the city in a better place, give us reason to go back. Like, take a page from Paralives. Give us free items every single day from these stores. Or, I've said it before and I'll say it again, give us exclusive items that you can only get at these stores, so we have to go there. We could certainly use a lot more recipes, a lot more dishes that we can make. inZoi's come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. But there's tons coming. If you read this post, it's not even on Discord this time. I mean, it's on Discord, but it's also on Steam. The amount of stuff that's coming, if I were to go through each and every item, this could easily be another 45 minutes to this video, so let's not do that. Let's just pick a few things that are interesting and talk about those, and maybe I'll do a separate video. I still don't think I'm gonna do a video where I'm going one by one, but maybe on that one I do a whole lot more. Right now, let's just choose maybe, let's just say a handful of things. A lot of great things are coming. The thing that really caught my eye was the taxi career, because I think we're underutilizing the cars. Because even if my Zoi owns a car, they don't automatically jump into their car and go everywhere. Sometimes they still walk, sometimes they still take the subway. So even as a mode of transportation, we're underutilizing it a bit. And we also need to do something about the job system. We need to make jobs more fun. This tackles both. It puts us on the road more, and even though you're doing the same thing all day long, so long as it's not the same passengers, well, bare minimum, as long as we're not going to the same place in the same order every single time, meaning your first stop is always going to be the deli, and they're always going to the apartment right next to Adam Entertainment, and so on and so forth. As long as they mix it up, yeah, sure, it's repetitive, but as long as the routes are different, the people are different, the places that people go are different, that there's a level of randomness to it, it's going to be fine. And speaking of cars, there's some exciting things coming for cars too. At some point, the dev team will be introducing refueling and the maintenance of your vehicles. Don't get me wrong, in reality, very costly and annoying things, but in a video game, I'm down for it. In a life simulation, I'm down for it. Oh, and they're also going to be adding a mini-map while you drive, which is huge because I get lost all the time. I'll pick my route and always miss my route, even if it's like 2 blocks away. So that's going to be huge. That's a major quality of life improvement when that gets here. And they're also adding bikes, like bicycles, which makes sense, because I've bumped into so many when I leave my home in Dawan. It's weird that we can't ride one already. In fact, they would be perfect on Chahaya. And with shopping, I'm excited about some of the things coming. I don't know if they're gonna do what I really want them to do, and that's do what Life by You wanted. Make it so that you have to go to the stores to buy groceries and to buy clothes. I know it's not for everybody, so I've always suggested maybe it's a separate, like you could opt into it, like a realism mode or something. To me, it just makes it more immersive, makes it more realistic. Again, furthering that life simulation in a life simulation. And I think the opportunity is ripe for that because they're talking about implementing a realistic shopping flow, including item selection, checking out, and barcode scanning. So you're going through the entire process of buying something. And on top of that, K-Jun is talking about expanding retail stores, including boutiques, furniture stores, and surf shops. And also expanding on interactive buildings, including grocery stores, clothing shops with shopping carts. And they're also adding hair salons. When all these things arrive in the game, it's creating the perfect opportunity for them to implement that realism system. I really don't think it should just be, it's there, you can use it or not. Because if we don't have to use it, chances are we're not gonna use it. Because even though I'll take extra steps just to keep things realistic, like for example, brushing my teeth and washing my face at night, I found recently because I take it straight to the bitter end with my business. By the time I get home, I'm like dead tired, ready to go to bed, and sometimes I'll skip the face washing. I wouldn't in real life, but in the game, there's no consequence to skipping the face washing. If it disgusted my Zoi wife, or it gave me some kind of negative moodlet, then it would certainly incentivize me to not skip it. So if they're gonna put in all these systems, it'd be best if they incentivized us to use it. There's so many things that are coming. Yeah, I definitely need to do a separate video covering a few more of these things, including a police career coming, which includes patrol cars and real-time criminal searches. Didn't I talk about this a couple weeks ago? It just makes sense now that there's criminals, now that there's burglars who break into places. It makes perfect sense to have the opposite career, the people to stop them. So that's coming, and that's coming in Q1, so within the next 3 months. So I assume the first update's going to be in March, like late March. Because that seems to be how they roll. Every 3 months, every quarter, they release an update. So I would assume at the latest, by April, we're gonna have the police career. I can't wait. I don't want to be a bad guy. Well, to be fair, I mostly just want to be a farmer that goes about my business, minds my own business, and lives my quiet life. But if we have to choose good or evil, I suppose I'd prefer to be a police officer. Alright, I think that's enough for me for today. And if you watched the whole thing, you're a champion. I appreciate you, and there's plenty of new content coming in 2026. I'm Kendra Kaiju, thank you for tuning in, thank you for subscribing, for liking, for leaving nice, kind comments. The first year of inZoi has been fantastic, and it looks like the dev team has figured out their flow. They kind of know, they have a much better idea of what we want and what's possible, and it's a very exciting time to be a Life Sim fan, to be an inZoi fan. I'll talk to you real soon, okay? But until then, take good care of yourself and just make it through another day.